In the TED Talk, How Your Memory Works and Why Forgetting is Totally Okay, Lisa Genova elaborates on common memory failures. One common memory failure that we all experience from time to time is forgetting where you put things, such as your phone, your keys, your wallet, etc. One of the main reasons that this failure happens is due to the lack of attention that we are giving during that certain time. Our brain cannot form sensory information into a lastful memory if there is no neural input from our attention. Another common memory failure is forgetting somebody's name. This happens when, let's say, you're trying to recall an actor's name from a show that you watched. This is referred to as blocking on a word, or also known as tip of the tongue. In the TED Talk, How Your Memory Works and Why Forgetting is Totally Okay, Lisa Genova directly stated, this happens when there is only partial or weak activation of the neurons that connect to the word that you are looking for. People typically find and focus on a word that is close to, but just isn't that name that you are actually looking for. This is referred to as the ugly sister of the word. Focusing on this actually makes it harder for you to recall that correct word. But once you stop focusing on that ugly sister, your brain is then able to activate the correct set of neurons to find that word that you were originally looking for. Another type of common memory failure has to do with our perspective memory, which is intentionally remembering a plan that you are going to do in the future. Our memory is also heavily influenced on context, such as cues or clues. That is why when, let's say, you go into the kitchen to grab your reading glasses, but once you get to the kitchen, you can't remember why you went in there. This is due to the lack of cues in the kitchen that would be reminding you of your glasses. A question that Genova was asked during her TED Talk was, what mistakes are considered not common and when should you be concerned about your memory? She states that there are some memory failures that happen that may resemble a problem. These failures that she talked about have to do with semantic and episodic memory. In our neuroanatomy for speech language pathology and audiology textbook by Rouse, we have learned some information about memory and cognition. We learned about our working memory, long-term memory, and short-term memory. Structures that are responsible for your working memory include the prefrontal cortex, cingulate cortex, and the parietal lobe. Earlier, referring back to information from the TED Talk by Genova, I spoke about the relationship between attention and memory. From the text, we also learned that specifically working memory is also closely linked to attention. Now, structures that are responsible for long-term memory are structures of the striatum, cerebral cortex, amygdala, cerebellum, and hippocampus. Long-term memory is divided into two separate categories, known as declarative and non-declarative. Declarative memory is memories that we are intentionally learning and retaining. Episodic and semantic memories fall underneath this category. Episodic memory is coming from personal experiences. An example of a episodic memory failure that Genova had mentioned in her TED Talk is driving yourself to somewhere, and then once you arrive to that destination, not remembering that you drove yourself there, like not remembering how you got there. And then semantic memories is based on facts and general knowledge. An example of a semantic memory failure that Genova also mentioned inside her TED Talk would be you are standing right in front of your car, however, you are not recognizing that that car is yours. And then non-declarative memory is memories that are not intentionally learned, but yet happen as we experience things. Both the TED Talk and the TED Talk from Genova and the information from the textbook by Rouse provided me with a good basis knowledge on memory. I chose to do the TED Talk about memory because it resonates me on both a professional and a personal level. On a professional level, as a future SLP, I'm aware that I will be working with patients who may have trouble with their memory, whether this be due to a TBI, stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. Before I fully entered into the field, I would like to continue to broaden my knowledge on this topic so that when I do enter the field, I am best prepared how to fully support my patients. Now, on a personal level, Alzheimer's does run through my family. My great-grandmother had it on my mom's side, and my grandpa had it on my dad's side. Sadly, they both passed away from this. And if you've ever experienced a loved one go through this, you know how tough it is. In the TED Talk by Genova, she mentioned how people do activities such as crosswords and believe that this will help them to build their memory. And with the hopes of lessening their chances of Alzheimer's or dementia. However, she does state that this is just false information because when you're doing crosswords, you're not really building any new neural roads. You are just repeating words that you already know. This information specifically caught my attention because not long after my grandpa passed, my dad has started to go on an internet deep dive of ways that he could start to improve his memory with the hopes that he's lessening his chances of getting Alzheimer's. I vividly remember him telling my mom and I this and how he wanted to start doing exercises so that he could help his memory. And I remember one of them being he said he wanted to start doing crossword puzzles. I will continue to do research and do my best to keep learning about memory loss. I will do my best to find valid research studies that don't necessarily prevent dementia and Alzheimer's, but instead promote brain health and wellness. Besides getting good sleep and doing regular exercise, I do wonder if there is any more information or research out there that is helping to promote brain health and wellness. Also, maybe even some research about helping to prevent Alzheimer's. Thank you.